Ian, the trip to Prague in the Czech Republic was an amazing experience. How do you go about selecting a destination for these international trips, and what chose you to led you to pick the Czech Republic?
Well, Jamie, when I was finishing my doctorate degree, I had a great opportunity to take an international business course. It was an independent study, and it was limited to 20 students. And it turned out that particular year, the study was in the Czech Republic, and it's amazing when I think back because I really didn't know anything about the Czech Republic. And I would talk to people and they'd say, "Oh, Czechoslovakia," and I'd say, "No, it's the Czech Republic." And I went home and I looked on the map, and here it is, this little country of 10 million people. And when I was there, it was an amazing experience because I really learned so much about the economy, about communism, about the European Union. And when I returned, I knew that I would be specializing in international business, and I hoped that one day I'd have this opportunity to take some of the students at the university. And this past year, when we were trying to decide on a trip destination, I felt that the Czech would be great. It's a wonderful time. They're just integrating into the EU. And I wanted the students to have a better understanding of communism and the system in terms of how you transition to a market economy. So it was the destination, plus I was familiar with it, and that always adds a little bit credibility to the trip. So we used International Studies program to work with us, and they were headquartered in the Czech Republic, which was again a second reason for selecting this company to work with us. So overall, it was a great destination, and to quote one of the students, it was magical.
It was a surprising destination. That's why I wondered about how you chose it, but it was an amazing trip. So.
It was very surprising, and I was a little bit concerned at the beginning, would there be enough of interest in terms of students having interest, and it was overwhelming, the interest between students, between faculty, and I think everyone just had a great trip.
Absolutely, it was wonderful. And something I noticed is the students seem to be very academically prepared. So I know there's a course, of course, that goes with the trip. It's not just for fun, it's very strong in the academic realm. How did you structure the course?
Well, the course was structured to mirror the companies that we would be visiting. And when I started thinking about the course, truthfully, there isn't really a syllabus that's out there for academics, books that you can use. So in that sense, it was a little bit challenging. But as I thought through the parameters of the course and the learning objectives, the first thing we started with was the European Union. With the Czech Republic as part of the EU, it was important that the students have an understanding of the European Union and the new members, the 10 new members that had joined, and where they were in terms of actually adopting the euro. And from there, we then went into the legal, the cultural, the political, and the economics of the Czech Republic. And that's where the students really had an opportunity to participate, to do some presentations, which led up to the actual agenda in the Czech Republic. So by that point, everyone had a chance to read about the companies, to certainly understand the transition from a socialist communist country to a free market society. And then, of course, the trip, which was the actual visits. When we came back, we did some of the cases just to, particularly on the Czech Republic and Eastern Europe, to reinforce what the students had seen in the current day. And the last project was their portfolio. And the portfolio consisted of their visits, an overview of the country. And what I did is I just gave them some parameters that they could be as creative as they wanted. But the goal was that they would take this portfolio and be able to use it when they went on interviews. So they could say to a prospective employer, well, I took a trip to the Czech Republic, and employer automatically says, well, okay.
Right.
But you can then take the portfolio out and say to the person, well, these are some of the companies we visited and this is what we learned. So it gives students a competitive edge.
Yeah, it's remarkable. It seemed like on the trip that the Czech Republic was sort of a classroom in itself, where the learning just could seem to seamlessly come in and out of the classroom and into the Czech and back into the classroom. It's my observation.
Well, that's great. I felt that way too when we, particularly with some of the visits, particularly the U.S. commercial services, when Aaron came in to visit with us, and when we had some of the professors from the University of Economics. As I looked, I knew that the students had already heard that, but it's good though. That's the purpose, because it reinforces what they've learned. So I think overall it was a great experience. As a result, we're using the same company, and we have a new destination coming up in March of 2008, which will be our trip to China.
I know, right?
Jamie, you know, you're invited. I think I can make that happen if you really want to go.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so, and actually we have two students that are with us today that'll be traveling also with us to China, in addition to at least 4 or 5 other students that are graduates that are coming back again to go on the trip. So maybe we can get some feedback on some of our students that are with us today, and actually find out what were their opinions, what did they really learn when they visited the Czech Republic. John, of all the companies that you visited, which company had the most impact?
Well, probably of the two that I think influenced me the most was, the first was the visit to the Bohemian Glassworks, and that was because that gave us an opportunity to talk with somebody who had been in the industry before communism, during communism, and now after again. So he had a really unique perspective, and he had so much knowledge, not only just about his own industry, but also about how communism and the socialist economy had kind of, how it had played out and how it compared now in the post-communist period. So that was really great. I thought he was a really neat guy, and that was a cool thing. And also the gentleman who came and spoke to us from the Civic Institute, who was I think he was the last company visit that we did, and that was interesting for me because it kind of dovetailed with the class that I was taking last semester on modern political thought, and he approached it from a political philosophy perspective, and that was interesting to me because it was, it kind of showed that the transition from communism back into the free market, also accompanying it was a really different perspective in terms of freedom, and that they were looking not just to embrace the economic benefits of capitalism, but also the benefits of being in a free society, and that that so many of the things that were the foundation of our country are still alive and well, even in post-communist Europe. So I thought it was really encouraging, and that it's not something, freedom is not just something that we enjoy here, but that it's continuing to spread in other parts of the world. So I thought that was
that's great. And that particular company that we selected, it was a Christian nonprofit organization, and that was somewhat of a challenge trying to find a Christian nonprofit organization in the Czech Republic, because we all know that it's post-Christianity in Europe, and particularly in the Czech Republic. So that was quite a challenge for the International Studies program, but I think they were great in identifying this particular person to come and speak with us. Hanan, what part of the culture really hit you? We learned so much about the Czech culture in terms of the post-communist and this transition. So if you can maybe share with us some of the cultural elements that really affected you.
I think, excuse me, no matter where you go, I think it was like a culture shock a little bit. it, and I think a lot of it was, we had done one of the tours, and they had taken us all around the city, and I just noticed that I would smile a lot. I would smile at people passing by, and I would never get a smile back, or it might make some of them uncomfortable. And the tour guide had actually mentioned that the Czech people really, it comes from just some of the remnants of the communist period. And that just has such a huge effect on the culture, and that was one of the things that I was able to see that was evident.
What did you think about the food?
The food was good. I enjoyed the food. I like potatoes and meat, right? That was really good. That was fun.
Service was great. The service was lovely. Every place we went, very Eastern European, I guess. In that sense.
It was. Just the quaintness of the city. It was really just a special city. And Lourdes, what are your thoughts in terms of the country? We know that they have not yet adopted the euro, and that's a big issue. It'll probably be at least another 3 to 4 years before they adopt the euro. So what are your thoughts right now in terms of going forward when they reach that point of adopting the euro?
Well, I definitely do think that there will be just a couple of years until they reach the euro. As Erica Butler mentioned, she is the representative over at the U.S. Embassy in the Czech Republic in the Department of Commerce. She told us all about that transition that they await with the euro, and I was very happy to hear her thoughts, because I enjoyed what she spoke about, welcoming the businesses, and
She was
I
great.
enjoyed it, yeah.
She was just a wonderful speaker, and I was so happy that we were able to bring her in, because I knew you could relate to her. She had just graduated maybe about 4 or 5 years, and it was wonderful too that she shared all of her experiences and how she came to join the U.S. commercial services. So hopefully that some of you might even consider that as a career path, because there are so many opportunities in international business with the government, no doubt about it. Hey Matt, I know that some of you guys took advantage of the hockey game, and we know you love hockey, so maybe you can share a little bit about the hockey game in the Czech Republic.
And if you didn't love hockey, you loved it after
Yeah.
that was the truth.
Well, yeah, that was a great advantage for us to have. I knew once I heard that it was happening that I wanted to put it on the to-do list. But some of the things were, it was completely different being outside and being in the city compared to being in the stadium. The people embraced you. They loved the fact we learned their chants. They loved the fact, we were cheering for their team. They wanted us to get into it. They were high-fiving us, things like that. That completely shocked us. They approached hockey to probably what the U.S. does for football. It was huge for them. It was granted it was a playoff game, but I didn't see any empty seats. There was, thousands of screaming fans. It was a big deal. It was a blowout, but no one left the stadium early. It's you're there. You want to see it to the end. It was different seeing all the security out there. That's definitely one issue that we take for granted in the States. Our security, is wearing a yellow T-shirt with security on the back. Theirs was fully armored guards wearing the helmets.
Yes,
and all.
I know.
It left an impression, definitely.
It did. And then cramming back on the subway with 1,000 bodies next to you on the way home is something that was completely different too. They have no problem with it. It's just ordinary to them. To be that close, and even in the stadium, people were shoulder to shoulder. It was great. It was a great experience. I know Paris was up on the Teletron being with the little
4
kids.
times. They kept putting the PBA students on the Teletron. This is a sold-out stadium, when you hear I said, there they are again. Oh my gosh.
History and pride. That is
Yes, we
amazing.
stood out. Yeah.
Were you surprised at the number of people?
I mean, for an event like that, yeah, because a hockey game, even a playoff hockey game in the United States, there's probably still empty seats up top, and it was a lot of fun. It was crazy. I'm surprised we were able to get in with such a big group.
you guys were lucky.
And the-
Particularly, it was right at the end.
And the
Yeah.
ticket
It's more
prices were
expensive, right?
ridiculous.
Expensive.
Yeah, they were.
$1.50 or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's just amazing. Well, I'm so glad that they had the game that night and you guys were able to really take advantage of it and experience the true culture, particularly from a sports point of view. And John, we had a visit with Czech Invest, and they shared with us their plans for bringing in new companies. Can you maybe share with us a few of the companies or some of the discussion points that they talked about in terms of bringing in new investment to Prague?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things that we kind of had studied in class, and that we were that they kind of reiterated when we went to visit Czech Invest, is that the Czech Republic has a really strong tradition of engineering. During the time when they were Czechoslovakia, the vast majority of industry was concentrated in the Czech part of the country, and they've always had, when they were in their past, they've always been a huge industrial sector, and that has kind of continued even to the present day. Even under communism, they were still well known for being excellent engineers. Their industry is very strong, and so in the post-communist period,
Right.
that's been one of their one of the things that they've been trying to emphasize the most is that particular sector. That combined with the fact that there's a favorable exchange rate between the crown and the euro and the US dollar has meant that a lot of companies from around the world have been coming to the Czech Republic because they need a very well-educated workforce for high-tech industry, but it's a very favorable in terms of the rates for labor and that type of thing. So I remember that the lady we met with in Czech Invest was saying that has continued to be one of the biggest areas that they focused on transportation. They talked about Škoda,
Yes.
the auto manufacturer that's part of Volkswagen now, and then actually Volkswagen is moving more production into the Czech Republic as opposed to away. We also learned that they do a lot in aviation and that kind of thing, which is actually kind of surprising that a former communist country would be competing in that way, because that's typically a place where post-communist countries are weak. So I think that was what she was saying was, I know that they have, I think it's Toshiba, I think,
Yes,
has come in and built a huge manufacturing plant to build LCD monitors, which is a really technical process. So they're definitely, and I mean, they are, if anything, becoming even more competitive as they integrate with the European Union. So
Definitely, and I know that China has started investing in Prague and in some of the outlying areas outside of Prague. And it's interesting when you mentioned Škoda, because a little bit of the background. Volkswagen was in some serious financial problems and almost facing bankruptcy. And when the alliance with Škoda, which is a Czech Republic, was brought before the management at Volkswagen, they decided that they would take advantage of it, and it was through this alliance that took place with the building of the automobiles in Prague that Volkswagen has gained financial security. And when we think about this, here it is a communist company, and at the beginning of the fall of communism, going to Volkswagen, who was a market economy company, and proposing this alliance. And now look at the success of it, and it just continues to grow. So there was a lot of different companies that we had an opportunity to visit and to learn about. Hanan, what would you say was one of the best cultural experiences for you visiting the country?
I mean, everything was wonderful. I know I wasn't able to go to, and we went to, one day we had gone, just like the cultural trips that we had done. I know we did the concentration camp.
Yes.
Karlovy Vary.
Yes. That was beautiful.
For me, it really was, I mean, it was so great to just be like in the orientation, to just go to the businesses, but it was great, like at night, just all the students being able to go out to eat, just go out to see the city, take pictures. I mean, that was definitely one of the most memorable things.
The camaraderie that you build.
Yes,
You go to
definitely.
see, you're in class every day with many of your,
Yeah.
your colleagues, but you don't really get to know them as well until you have a chance to spend 24 hours a day with them.
Yes.
The same with the faculty and the
That's-
students,
that's
you know?
very true. Same with the faculty and the
Yeah.
students, no question about it.
You take the
No
relationship
question
to a different
about
level.
it. What would you say in terms of, you guys go out on weekends and have a great time? Is the culture in terms of your age group the same in the Czech, or is it different? Same types of likes, dislikes?
I think so. I think it's
I think
universal
it's,
now.
I think it's much more similar than, say, people your age in the Czech Republic. There's that greater contrast with the older generation. I think the younger
Yes,
is much
yes.
more, and that has to do with technology and
Westernization.
things like that.
It really does, so we are one world, particularly when we look at students your age, that it's seamless, whereas if you go back and you look at some of the people that were middle-aged, you still see a remarkable difference between the two generations, and that's the communist legacy that they still have. And I know when I went to church, I saw that just talking with people. It's amazing. It really is. And technology has certainly moved everyone to one world where there's really very few borders.
And even just speaking English. A lot of the younger generation was able to master the language, and we were able to communicate and talk, as opposed to an older generation, which would be the Czech language or Russian.
Lourdes, you're a music major and an international business major, and we know that Prague is one of the music capitals of the world. Tell us a little bit more about what you experienced.
Well, Mozart was there for most of his life. People there enjoyed his music very much. Also Dvorak and many other composers lived in the Czech Republic, and I believe the culture also takes in a lot of those musical, the musical ideas that those composers brought to certain time periods, and I think the culture is affected by that.
It is. It's just beautiful, isn't it? All the concerts that they have every evening. When you stop and think about it. Yeah, that's right, John. You went to one of the concerts. Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible because I think especially in the U.S. there's not really a strong tradition of music in that way, just because we're a young country, and Mozart and composers from the classical, Baroque classical era, there was no America, for a lot of that period, or it was a very young country and didn't really have a very unique culture of its own. And so, but the Czech Republic, and like most of Europe, has a really strong tradition of that, that type of music. And so we were able to go to one of the churches in Prague, just past Charles Bridge, and listen to a concert. It was a string quintet, and that was incredible. Just the whole setting of it, and it was beautiful. It really was.
Some of the other students that went just kept on raving about what a great experience. Kim, I don't know if you had gone to that.
I did go to that, and that was amazing to me. I was struck with, for me personally, there was kind of a spiritual dimension to it. Again, we were in the church. It was a sacred place. And so there was that level. And later I talked to some Czech people who, for them, the church was more of a music venue. It was not necessarily a house of worship. And I just made that distinction. It was kind of interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
And they said they utilized their churches extensively
Yes.
for the concerts, but not for worship. However, like I said, for me it was a place of worship. Another experience I had was with a couple of other faculty that were on the trip. We went to the opera. It was at the National Theater, and it was Samson and Delilah. And I had the same experience as we had at the hockey game, okay? We're in, everybody was so solemn, really kind of quiet in the lobby. In the U.S. and lobbies of, the Kravis or concert halls, people are lively, they're having their refreshments, and then you get quiet, and they almost have to quiet you down. Not in the Czech, it was all quiet. But then, when it was time to applaud, I have never heard people go crazy like they went crazy over this opera. You know, just yelling and screaming and on their feet, and just this whole persona that doesn't come through in other, you know, social interactions.
True.
It was fascinating, yeah, just, I was
The
surprised by
opera
that.
is so special.
Yeah.
I didn't go this time, but the first time I went to Prague, I had a chance to go to the opera, and what an experience.
Yeah,
It
just amazing.
Yeah, it's just the ambiance, the building.
Beautiful.
So much money has gone into these theaters to restore them to their original state, and it's just magnificent
Yeah.
to see some of them. Matt, maybe you can sum it up for us and tell us a little bit about the managerial styles of some of the companies that we visited, and how do they differ from the U.S. management style?
Well, one thing that stood out was the trip to the Coke plant, and just what an eye-opener it was to be inside the plant. And we were a little bit disappointed we didn't get to speak with
Yeah.
the scheduled speaker and the tour we didn't get to do. But how open, how modern, nothing compared to the city. I mean, nothing compared to the beige, huge buildings that are just, you know, stagnant. But that was a big eye-opener. And then that contrasted to, say, the water management and, you know, the structure there and the manager who took us around. Although he was knowledgeable and it was a great experience, it was kind of bland. But the headquarters was, you know, done up lavish and whatnot. So there's that like transition where the higher up, the newer stuff coming in is definitely more Western. But what used to be there, what still is there, is definitely, you know, sign of communism everywhere, the buildings and the infrastructure and whatnot. So there's that kind of big contrast between the new stuff coming in and the old stuff that was there. But as far as the management, I thought they were phenomenal in explaining how they worked, especially the Bohemian Glass. He told us about his employees and seeing the employees there, just shirts, t-shirts, and whatever they wanted to wear, you know, as long as they were comfortable. Where you wouldn't see that nowadays. There would be uniform for
never see
everyone, and there would be all kinds of codes and stuff. I was actually shocked we got to walk.
We got to
through
walk.
that.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah, that was a bonus. Believe it,
Great.
that was quite a bonus walking through. I never anticipated we'd have that opportunity. And you know, talk about those people though. It's really, unfortunately, it's a dying industry with technology, and so few of the people in Prague that want to even go into the industry, and that's the unfortunate part. So I'm so happy we had that opportunity to really visit with a company that was originally state-owned and then reclaimed its ownership and is doing so well too. So it was quite a trip. Well, you guys, thanks so much. I'm just thrilled that you guys went on the trip with us, and I know we'll see a few of you when we travel to China in a month. So thanks so much for everything.